Morning, everyone. Almost afternoon. Welcome to Talking Horses. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling. We close out the week with a 9-race car. We've moved post times up. There's some concern with not only wind, but some fog, so we're doing what we do, which you may or may not agree with, but we're doing it. We're moving up post. I think the last post is 440 now. Does that sound right?
Okay.
Like that? I think something like that.
I'll trust you.
Anyway, they've been tweeted out. They're available. Check them out. I know I tweeted them. Naira tweeted them as well. Anyhow, we have 9 to talk about. I am not changing my Derby top 10 because of the result in the Virginia Derby yesterday.
Really? Because you like this horse a lot going in.
I always
liked
liked that
things.
horse. I'll tell you one thing I like about him. Wayne Lukas, unlike all his other brethren, has no fear of sending Speed Horse to the lead. Who's the last guy that decided to go after Bob Baffert hard?
Yeah.
You know?
Love that.
And right, I love that about Wayne. You know, and the truth is, and it's like that thing what Todd Pletcher said to me 30 years ago. And these things sound very simple, but they're true. Wayne Lukas made a lot of money sending speed horses to lead. Wayne doesn't rate speed horses, so this horse's presence in the Derby means that nobody's getting a free ride up front.
Gary Stevens won a Preakness on him doing that. Jamie
Oxbow.
Torres won a Preakness doing that.
Yeah.
And I know that it's probably meaningless. They don't win a lot of races at a mile and an eighth at Colonial, but does set a track record in the process.
He's got a 95 buyer.
Yeah.
I mean, if it wasn't for journalism, he'd be in the conversation. It's just things sort of change with that, but it's a very respectable. He's a good horse. He run well in the Southwest a couple of races ago, and then he ran into that freak show in the Risen Star last time out, and nobody had a chance against him. And, you know, other than the Getaway car, who clearly just folded under pressure.
Yeah.
But it was a fun race. You're right. They don't. I mean, I wonder how many mile and eighth dirt races they've run in their entire existence. I do love those one-turn mile and an eighth. I mean, other than Belmont Park, in America, is there another racetrack that runs a mile and an eighth around one turn?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Anyway, and what's funny is that it helps closers usually because the paces are faster. It didn't matter with that horse. He looks strong. He's a big, strong horse too, huh?
And look, getting better at the right time.
Better and better.
Now's the question, kind of a no man's land, right, in terms of another prep.
Oh, no.
I know
Wayne would run him in the Louisiana Derby if
he'd run him tomorrow.
Right.
But
he'll be in the Arkansas Derby or the Wood or the
But here's the thing, though. You do risk. He's in right now, okay? He's in the race. You run him again, you're taking a risk.
They don't sit in the barn in Wayne's barn.
Okay.
Hey, look at Will Take Charge, you know. He had some trips in the Triple Crown races. And he ended up being 3-year-old champion because Wayne ran him. That's Wayne. You can argue with it whether you like it or not, but it's tough to argue with the resume of Wayne Lukas. You can say what you want, but it's tough to argue. And, you know, I'm an old-timer. I've been around a long time. D. Wayne off the plane, and some of you watching remember back in the 80s and into the 90s, D. Wayne off the plane was deadly. Northsider. I remember Northsider when Pat Day fell asleep with a 3-length lead, the 16th bull at Belmont. I think it was Preakness Day, and Miss Eloise caught him. It was PG, but that's a long time ago. Anyway, head over to Naira Bets. Use the promo code MATCH200. We'll match with $200 of your initial deposit. Hoping to see Chancellor McPatrick coming here for the Wood. Feels like a real possibility. Of course, he has a win here in the Champaign. We have a 20% exacta bonus at Tampa Bay. You want to opt in for that. We have a cross-country pick 5. What, do you want to show me something?
Yeah, but don't repeat it.
I won't. I would not have repeated that, but thank you for that warning. We've got 3 at Oakland, 2 at Aqueduct. All those races will be at America's Day at the Races from 4 to 5:50, I believe.
Is it just me or
3 to
those
5:50.
graphics? They're really in my face, aren't they? That font.
Well, you know, it's Eddie's fault that we don't have a final time. Don't pretend it's not Eddie.
I don't know. Does it go till next week? I mean, are we on for 400 hours straight?
Forever.
I need an end time, please.
3 forever.
I got to plan my day.
The solution to a couple of mistakes made, putting the wrong end time.
3 till when?
To never put the end time on. That to me is not a solution, but apparently it is the solution. But it's 3 to 5:50, I believe.
Okay.
All right. More serious matters at hand. Race number 1.
Some good races. I like this card.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad, you know, I was a little worried we might cancel because of a lot of wind in the area, so I'm glad that we're running, and I'm not surprised that we both like Remember the Chief. It's just like, do you want to take a somewhat unknown quantity, or do you want to take a horse that's been laid off? And I'll take the horse coming off the layoff. This is a horse that I bet last time out. I've bet him a number of times and lost. I think I bet him his last 2 dirt starts. if he can ever find that form from his first 2 races, he will absolutely smother this field.
Yeah, I just think you look at his races, you can kind of make excuses for a lot of them. And the best race he ever ran is the only time he sprinted at 7 furlongs. J.D. Factor, who beat him that day, was second to Doc Sullivan, some other good horses too. It's a decent field, and he got the best figure he's ever run. I know that he got a higher buyer number in his second start. Thorograph has that as his best race. And then he went long in the mud. They tried him in a mile again. Then he went on turf. Then he went to the bench. Obviously, something went wrong. I think there's excuses just about every single race since the debut.
I don't disagree. That's why I kept betting on him, and I agree with you. I think less distance is going to help his chance in here. And after him, do you really want Diabolico?
Yeah, the extra L in there throws me off.
Yeah, I don't quite get names like that. Shaking the Bell, who's had a million chances. Smoky Places on the outside, was on a gold rail. None of these horses appeal to me. I don't think you're going to get a huge price in the 4, but I'm with you on Remember the
A
Chief.
first-timer, Perfect Creed, the dam did produce Donegal Moon, who won the Grade 3 Pegasus.
It's a funny pedigree. There's 2 horses from the dam that could run, and a bunch that others couldn't. You look up the second dam?
Yes, possibly Perfect. What, 6-time Grade 1 winner?
She was a tremendous turf horse. I think, was she originally a Euro and went to California, I want to say? Maybe Ron McAnally had her?
Oh, it was
or
McAnally?
McAnally, or was it Whittingham?
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not sure. I thought it was one of them. Maybe it was I'm not, could have been.
I have to double check.
That horse won a lot of money.
11 for 18
Very,
lifetime.
very
Yeah,
good
incredible.
horse, yeah. All right, that's race number 1. Race number 2. I was a little surprised we agreed here. Not that I'm surprised that I think you look at these 2 horses, Twirly and Lady Rainicorn.
Yeah.
I had originally thought that they might go for Mott more, and the Mott horse did have a bit of a trip in there. It was wide. The rail was good. I thought, take a look at Lady Rainicorn. Is the one that's moving up into sort of 4th right now. This horse, I thought she was very green in here, sort of figuring out what was going on. And you watch Lane Leslie trying to ride her, and I thought he overall rode her very well. I'm not blaming him for this. But right in here, she's sort of in a tough spot, right? She's kind of like not happy going through, a horse who could have finished second. And I thought she ran pretty well last time. Actually, better last time.
I did too. I thought there was a lot to like from that first time out. She was 18-1, and I think it's actually, you think she's going to be better going longer. The dam did produce Sundays with Sandy, who's a 7-time winner. Global Campaign, actually, who was Woodward winner at a mile and a quarter.
I love Global Campaign.
Slightly better, slightly with his sprinters than route runners, but
this is only his first crop.
yeah, that's not a big sample size.
Who did
Should
he
like
beat?
more ground.
Who was the heavy favorite he beat in the Champagne? I think it was a Todd horse. Can't remember. I think it was a Pletcher horse. I could be wrong. He was the second choice.
Okay.
But I know he beat a horse that was, he was a good Stan Huff trainer. He was a very good horse. He won the Peter Pan
Yes, he did.
here as well.
Yep.
I remember I made a lunch bet with Stabile in that race. He said that Todd had a heavy favorite in there. He couldn't lose. And the bet was, if he wins, it's I owe him a lunch per length he wins by.
Okay.
But if he loses by a lunch per length. But I think that we put a cap on it, and
So
he hit the cap.
quick question on that whole thing, because you guys did this for a few years. He wound up owing you a lot of lunches.
He did.
How's that going to get settled?
I'm not hungry.
Okay.
If I was starving, Anthony would make sure I had food. That's how it's going to get settled.
Okay.
It was more for fun than anything else.
Okay.
But I also think that the Mott horse, so you have third and I have second, Twirly, this horse had a bit of a trip in there. It was a little bit out in the middle of the track, sort of swung out, got a little bothered in the stretch. And, no knock on Katie Davis, but does switch to Jose Lezcano. So I think these are the 2 dangerous horses in there. You have Crimson Queen, who I have third and second.
Yeah, look, I think a little bit intriguing. It was a slow race in that first out effort. Had the rail that day. Unfortunately, gets the rail again today. But again, first-time starter who's going to benefit from that start under the belt and definitely could move forward for a pretty good barn for Jimmy Bond. But having said that, I really like that race in terms of this field. It's not some monster performance, but I think we'll appreciate going longer, and I think she did get a lot out of the debut.
I kind of like the horse that won that race. I know it came up a slow race, but that horse is back in on Friday.
Miss American
for
Pie?
For Christophe Clement, and I thought that was a horse that could improve off of that maiden win. I thought that was actually a pretty decent race. I didn't have much to say about anybody else. I mean, you've got the DePaz horse, but that horse, the 4, was just awful. And Giant at Work, these horses just look slow to me.
Yeah. Again, it was a debut for Nick Nack, but yeah, I didn't love that race either. It's just never a factor. Didn't do a lot of running late. And
took money.
as you make up placings and lose lengths in ground, I don't love that.
Right. Just because they finished third doesn't mean they ran particularly well when they lose by 20 lengths. Race number 3, there are 2 logical horses in race 3, and then there's everybody else. And maybe everybody else is going to win this race. I'm not going there. I've gone to the 4. You've gone to the 8. We'll take a look at Just Very Satisfactory as 3 to 5 in the line. What excuse can you make for this brutal hang job last time out? And I benefited from this. The horse that won was on top of the pace, wide the whole way.
Look at Very Satisfactory outside here.
Okay.
I feel like when he sort of gets to the horse in this stretch, you can see it just kind of stall and almost kind of slow down a little bit. It's strange to me. And then all of a sudden re-engages. Maybe it's in my head. I saw that as I looked back 4 or 5 times at it and was making this big move and then just kind of almost not stopped a little bit.
It's an
and then
equine
started going
chandelier
again.
of this horse.
Yeah. I agree with you.
I can't take him off of that last loss. He may well win the race, but my feeling in taking Nilrock is, A, he would be a better price. But the thing about him is he's got 2 stinker races, and they're both on wet tracks, sealed tracks. Why doesn't he win off his races 2 and 3 back? And at a better price, I don't think he's any worse and maybe better than the number 8. And I don't think the 8 should be a heavy favorite over him.
And the 2 beats when he got drilled by Very Satisfactory were on those wet tracks. So, yeah.
Yeah, I discount the way this horse clearly underperformed. And I don't know where else I'm supposed to go in this race. I mean, I've got Broderick third, you've got him fourth, but he hasn't been good. I bet Laird of Magnolia last time out. He was atrocious in there. Belmont Union, a little interesting, but not exactly connections that win a lot of races, but not impossible, I guess.
Yeah, that was the one to me, the one, Belmont Union, who's a little bit of intrigue, but wow. Has been at this maiden 20 level and completely thrown it. It'd be interesting with the equipment change and the rails. This horse going to try and be a little bit aggressive.
He's got to go. I mean, I would think that he would go in there, but I think Nilrock will be sort of close to him. I don't think the 8's going to be that far out of it. I've just seen enough of Very Satisfactory. He's 3 to 5. I'm going to bet against him. Race number 4, Tipple came out. I was disappointed by that. I did not like Tipple at all in here, or Camp of Gold Rail.
Love Tipple last start.
Yeah, but last time was the time for this horse. We'll take a look at Fade to Gray. What do you do with Fade to Gray in here on the outside? It's going to be a pretty heavy favorite. This is her last win where she guts it out over Points, who scratched yesterday. But is she really better at a mile? Or as good?
Thorograph has her running the exact same figure the last 3 starts in a row.
Okay, so she's not better at anything.
Yeah.
I mean, she's who she is. She's pretty good. I don't mean
I think she's good. And you look, Bernie Takes Charge 2 back.
Well, she's good in a Gold Rail. Bernie Takes Charge.
Who had that monster number, the 97 Byron, the Heavenly Prize.
On a Gold
Rail. I do think Pointso, who she beat, is a pretty good runner.
So do I.
Who had been third to Bernie, by the way, the start before that. For me, she's not really kind of progressed. I went with I'm probably taking a big stab in here. I'll let you go first, and I'll talk about mine.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay.
Talk about Bella Queen.
So, look, I'm taking a shot
here.
with Bella Queen in here. That last start, and before we even get to the last start, she had 4 races before that match pretty much the best, well, now with Tipple out, match the best figure anyone's ever run in here. Now, granted, they came at Parks, they came at other tracks, they came at Monmouth, including a monstrous effort last time out. She just leapt to, Buyer Figures doesn't have it at that number. Thorograph had it as a just different league of anybody else in this field. This trainer has brought 2 horses to Aqueduct, has not hit the board with them.
So it's a good trainer angle.
No, but I think that bringing
not a big sample
takes
size.
This huge,
it's not a big sample size.
Not a big sample size, but taking this massive move forward, he's saying, I'm going to bring her a shot because I think she's of quality to take a shot against the big leagues. You look at that race that day, too. It was the fastest fractions of the entire day. There's only one other race where the opening quarter went that quick, and then the second quarter was 2.5 seconds slower almost.
And this is a funny one because the pace projector has the 6 on an easy lead in a slow pace. But the pace projector is looking at recent races, not just the last race. Mm-hmm. Based on the last race of Bella Queen and the way she ran when she was aggressive, isn't she going to be in front in this race? I mean, why would you bring her here and rate her?
Yeah, I agree.
I know Wayne Lucas wouldn't.
No, he would not.
No, I didn't
She
really
just-
like her, but
she's
the
got to
price,
she's got to
so.
prove it at a different, big league track. She's got to prove it stretching out. But I also like the fact too it wasn't one of those monster efforts, but she has run effectively going longer before as well.
No, I'm not knocking long shots off of good races, so I didn't like her, but her last race is absolutely good enough to win here. I will not argue with that. I like Barbara Tina. Now, she's off a layoff. You never know if they need races. We'll take a look at her last race. This last race she comes out of has been a key race. Horses have really run well out of this race. And this was a horse that I liked a lot in the Gazelle. But as many will remember, on Wood Memorial Day, the track was extremely kind to forwardly placed horses, and nobody was closing at all that day. So she was completely hampered by the racetrack. And I thought she'd actually run okay, better than it looks in her dirt races, and they ran her on synthetic, but she's a dirt horse. And I liked her last race a lot. I've been waiting for this horse. She's obviously got some issues. Now she switches to Rick Dutro's barn. I never know if these horses need a race or not, but I have a thing for this horse. I believe in this horse. You don't like her at all.
I think she's talented. No, look, I have her fourth, don't I?
Okay. Well, it's a 5-horse field.
I just thought she might need a race, but I think she's talented. And I think,
I'm betting her.
look,
I'm
she
betting
would not shock me at all.
Yeah,
I'm glad you brought up the Gazelle because you were off the air. I
Where's my
believe,
ring
for it.
one yesterday?
Going sub 144 for a mile and 16. Did you see the buyer figure she got?
The Randy hadn't put up many. Moss does the buyer figures in Oakland. He hadn't put them up.
Yeah,
because
I
I was
haven't
looking
seen
to
it
see
yet.
what we should have bet Booth yesterday. We paid like $7. We were talking about it, how with the 2-speed scratching, it was
Yeah.
loose. That's a totally different horse. I mean, he's a good, but he's a completely different horse when he's up front in there. I was sorry
Yeah.
that Close the Game Sugar ran kind of lousy in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
yeah,
no,
we-
I haven't seen what
It
figures.
was a big effort.
She's a good horse. She's
Yeah.
a really good horse. She had some. She didn't have the best of trips, I think, in the Kentucky Oaks, and then things went awry in the Acorn. That's probably her first race since the Acorn, right?
Well, she had a 6 furlong sprint that was, I think, just a prep to
Okay.
get a race into her. She looked good.
She has a very good pedigree.
And now she's up against Torpedo Anna in the Apple Blossom.
Oh,
That's where they're going.
well, they've taken her on before. Why not?
Yeah.
See where she stands. I'm a fan of that horse.
I am too.
Besides the fact I think she's good, but I have other reasons for it as well, which eventually you'll figure out. You know, but I'm not going to talk about it. Race number 5. So, Jake Rocks, who we both have second. He should have won last time. Now we're going to show you the pan and head on at the start. He's the number 6. I mean, he throws his head, and
Yeah.
it's all his own fault. And he obviously cost himself the win. My one concern is that 79 buyer, man. Bronx Bomber really ran a 79 buyer. We don't need to see any more of the head on, guys. It just needs to be for 2 seconds to start. And he doesn't break that badly, but as the race turned out, he should have won. I just don't know if I believe that fig is being predictive going forward. And the problem with Jake Rocks is, yeah, he was in a weak $10,000 claiming race last time. I respect Michelle Nevin a great deal, but I don't trust him that much as a horse, and we both picked him second.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously he's a major player in here. I don't either. I thought there was just some more upside on, and unfortunately Majestic Frontier scratched in here. I thought was dangerous in this spot too. I just saw a little more upside with the judge and jury. I thought this horse has
Got back for him.
massive back form. I mean, he has so many races. Laurel, Delaware. He's got that standout race in April last year, Laurel, that would frankly make him a stakes contender.
Problem is he's just gone bad, hasn't he?
He has, but I'll say this. Look, it's third off a short layoff. He's paired up against this field, 2 figures that are in contention anyway, and I think he moves forward off that third off a short layoff. He had no chance in that last start. The rider had him about 9 wide around the turn. I don't know what he was doing in an 8-horse field, how you even get that wide. He had 0 chance to win that race.
Well, sometimes I feel like a rider's keeping a horse out of trouble when they're that far wide.
Maybe.
It does feel like, listen, he's a decent price. Jamie Ness has not done particularly well with these lower level claiming horses here, and feels like he's bringing here hoping somebody claims him, isn't he?
Yeah, that could be the case.
Doesn't mean he can't win.
But even the last 2 starts, they're sneaky better in terms of contending against this field. I think they're as good as really anyone, what they've been running lately.
Now, I picked Charging Arrow. I don't believe that Charging Arrow is going to be favored over Jake Rocks. David is usually right about these things. I have trouble seeing it. Maybe I'm wrong. I picked him. I mean, it's sort of obvious why I picked him. This is a horse who'd been running extremely well for Michelle Gianggiulio, was claimed away from her, ran reasonably well when coming back 11 days off her training, but then came back 2 weeks later and really did not run particularly well in finishing second. But you know what? Gets back in Michelle's barn. I'm hoping gets back to the better races. I'm not in love with it as a favorite. I had just kind of misread it maybe. Do you think the 7 Screaming Uncle's a little bit interesting in here? You've left this horse out, but this horse is dropping precipitously, caught a muddy seal track last time, and this is another horse that's not that far away from a race that would make him tough. I don't know where it came from, but that treaty obligation race on October 19th would make this horse very tough in here.
No, I agree with
he
that.
He was like my weirdo horse in here.
I've been facing a lot better. I think, short layoff in a muddy sealed track that you could probably put a line through. Yeah, I think that horse is interesting. We both have Uncle George pretty far back, but
I don't know.
I don't know if to the 7
Voided
furlongs.
claim in December. 7. Yeah, he's got to get set.
But he's going to take plenty of money.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that horse. I guess I also don't like the race he's coming out of. I feel like I know it got a good fig. I didn't like that race.
No.
We'll see. See what happens. You've taken a horse at a price, though, judge and jury. A horse. I looked at him a lot. We'll take a look. Take a quick break. We'll be back with the late pick 4.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
Welcome back, Talking Horses. Greg and Andy. After you've taken some shots at bigger prices in the last couple of races, you're going to get more realistic in here, and I'm going to take a shot with a horse that I'm assuming is a bigger price in here, and that's the 2 Sounds Like Fun. But, I mean, the race does a lot center around Palace Boss and Shlomo. We'll watch last time. Now, Lee, who owns Shlomo, told me he threw a shoe at the start, and that's why he lost, and throwing shoes at the start rarely really affect things. I don't trust Shlomo after this. I know he was caught a little bit wide. He didn't do any running in here. At least Palace Boss was fighting it out the whole way.
Yeah, and I like how, and for both of them, it was off, considerable time away. But I do like how Palace Boss really was continuing to fight and find more through the stretch, even though ultimately the horse got passed in here. But I thought it was a really productive comeback and that he had an opportunity really to build more off of this.
Listen, I didn't pick him because I picked him a lot. Better prices. He's going to be relatively short today, but I agree he's horse to beat. I hope I'm wrong about Shlomo, and obviously has a faster races early, but I do think there's a concern that this horse just isn't good anymore.
But
he could win here,
2
and I hope he does
very
win.
Good races.
But
Vetriano ran a 97 buyer off that win in the next start. He was, a distant third to him, but still, that's good company lines.
Not like his last race.
It was not good.
I didn't like it, and I'm not buying the shoe excuse. Okay, so why did I go to the number 2, who you have absolutely nowhere here? Well, which sounds like fun. You've got a horse that 2 and 3 back, I thought ran races that give him a little bit of a chance.
Yeah.
You look at that race, he was 3 wide against Elvis himself at Cyber Attack. The rail was probably the place to be on December 27th. The time before that, I don't think he ran that badly behind He Has It All and Elvis himself as well. So he has those races that were pretty good. He comes off a 2-month layoff last time, and he had absolutely no shot in that race going a mile. He's dropping down off of it. It just feels to me like he's, now he's facing the New York Breds and stuff. His last race, he just had no chance in there. He was a huge, huge price. He's going to be a big price today. And I think he has races that give him a chance because the truth is, Palace Boss has had his share of chances. Shlomo's starting running chances. And I've just seen a lot of these horses, and I thought his races 2 and 3 back were good enough to contend here. And last time, going a mile off the layoff, he just had no shot whatsoever in that field.
Right, yeah. I mean, the 2 and 3 back, those races are right in the mix.
That's what I
with
thought.
Shlomo and Palace Boss.
Right. I don't trust him. I don't love him, but he's going to be 8, 10, 12 to 1, so why not? I thought he had some things to recommend.
Yeah.
And I don't totally trust the 4 and 5. And I know there's an argument for Roofer, who does look like he's the speed here. I got to tell you, I'm just sick and tired of this horse. What was so great about his last race? I mean, I guess it gives him a chance in here. He's not impossible. Maybe he looks better than my horse. I don't know.
His speed makes him dangerous.
Yeah,
but
blinkers on. Yeah, his speed does make him dangerous. I wasn't a big fan. Maybe I should have put him 3rd or 4th or something. But I couldn't resist the claim on the 1 in here, who's also run.
What about Catherine Wheel getting up with Cancel yesterday?
Yeah, I had picked her 2nd. I considered changing it. I didn't change because Sarah had picked her on top, and I didn't, I scratched it. I like that Cox horse we were talking about earlier that scratched out of there. She got an 86 buyer for that race. Maybe the Chad Brown's Barn, and we'll segue into the next race where I think it's 2 races later. Maybe the Chad Brown Barn will start coming alive. They've been kind of quiet. She ran yesterday.
She did. I like the filly who just got nailed.
Yeah, that was a tough beat for her. That was a
ran
tough
huge.
beat. She ran way too well to lose.
Yeah.
She ran the best race in there. She really ran well in there, put everybody away, and then just couldn't quite hold off. And she just missed getting the bob
And
back, too.
actually, going into the turn, it looked like she was done, and she sort of
No,
re-rallied.
she was good.
Yeah.
She ran way too well. Catherine Wheel, frankly, was lucky to beat her yesterday.
Yeah.
She was not the best horse in the race. Race number 7. I know we agree about
wow.
Lou.
Okay.
Well, I got to pick horse's name, Lou. We do not agree on the 8, Miles and Miles. You have 2nd. And I'm hoping that Miles and Miles, and we'll take a look at the replay, gets betting here. To me, this is a totally phonied up gold rail win. And I bet him last time. I think he's totally dressed up off a racetrack performance that makes him look better than he is. So I'm way against him.
Yeah, look, could absolutely be the case. No one in this field gets me all that excited in here. So nothing really would surprise me in here. I just thought potentially this horse comes back now as a 3-year-old, and yes, aided by the racetrack, but maybe he's just woken up a little bit too and may have turned the corner as a horse.
Lou has kept slightly better company. I think that River Thames would be tough in here. And if Amelia Green can improve a horse from Bill Morey, she's okay by me, and she takes this horse over for Carlos David. And I mean, she's not been training on her own for a while. For people not familiar with her, she worked for Todd Pletcher for years, so that in and of itself gives her enormous credibility. But I think she's been doing a good job with the few horses she's had, and this horse is just finally getting the needed class relief, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, look, River Thames just missed in the Fountain of Youth to Sovereignty, who's probably a lot of lists, either 2 or 3 on the Kentucky Derby list right now.
You own River Thames. You're running him back, maybe in the Florida Derby, one of those races. I don't know where Todd, depends on which chess pieces he's moving around, because he has a few. I think you're thinking Woody Stevens with that horse, right? You're thinking that horse, Pat Day Mile, Woody Stevens. I know those races come up wars, but they're important races, and I like River Thames. I thought he ran very, very well in the Fountain of Youth. I just don't see how he's possibly winning the Kentucky Derby with speed horses that are better than him in there.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of his game.
Just seems like, I think he's a really good horse. I'm not, I think he's
that was
one.
His 3rd career start, though, wasn't it?
No, yeah, 3rd or 4th, yeah.
I think it was 3rd.
Yeah, but he's really good.
He
I
is.
just don't believe he's
Ultimately,
a mile
probably,
That's
yes.
why I didn't put him higher in a Derby list. I don't see him as a real Derby horse.
Look, most of the horses on the road to the Derby, though, aren't Derby horses.
Right,
though, right?
right. But it's just, what is his path to victory? You know what I mean? Like, what is he going to do to win? But regardless, we like Lou. Now,
look, even 4 of his last 5 starts, too, he's run the best figure that anyone owns in this race. So, I thought Lou was going to be very tough. And he's the only multiple winner in the field, by the way.
He's favored for a reason, and he should be favored in here. Shifty Gold, speaking of Chad Brown, he's got 2 in here. I want to show his last race because I actually thought, he's not in the picture, or he's just getting in the picture. He's the colors of Chancellor McPatrick, the green colors, the Flanagan colors. I tell you what, maybe the race sort of fell apart and it's a bit of an illusion. It didn't come up that fast. What I like is that he improved in his 2nd start, getting to dirt, and he's nothing but upside. As opposed to other horses near, and listen, to be fair, I'm So In Love has run 2 straight figures that make him a winner in this race. I don't get it. I don't believe it. I want to see it again.
Yeah.
But maybe after the race, I'll just say, you're a fool, I disregard a horse that's a decent price, that's run fast enough races. I want to see it again. But he is in improved form. But I thought Shifty Gold was a horse that could step forward, could take another step forward.
Yeah, no, absolutely see it. And that was the dirt debut. So, there's tons of upside from that barn, no question. This is a tough race. I even though we both pick Lou and Lou's the favorite and there's a lot to like, I'm not sold that Lou has to win this race.
I tried to make a case for Ray Handel in here and picked him third with Run of the House. I'm worried about this horse trying to get a mile. Happy, Ray, for you to win that maiden race yesterday, even though you beat me ahead. But his horse did. My horse I don't know if he's
The
best
first
or
time
not.
starter, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he did all the dirty work. He put away the 4
Yeah.
and put it away, and he ran pretty well. I was glad for Ray. He's been in a tough run. And, sometimes those wins, Catherine Wheel, Ray winning with the first-time star, can
They
turn
get you
around
going.
what has
Yeah.
been a lousy run. Ray's won too many races and done too
OBS
well
March
to
grad,
suddenly
by the way.
suck. Did somebody tell me they thought that Joey Migliori was involved in that horse?
I didn't hear that.
Somebody
Okay.
said that. I'll have to ask Joey. If he wasn't, I apologize to whoever I'm taking credit from. We'll see. Listen, I don't think Just Licorice is impossible in here. I don't really like the horse, but the
No.
horse isn't impossible.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah. The 8th race is a very, very, very tricky race. And we're going to show the entire race for last race where Night the Gold ran second. But I want to show What's Up Bro's last race. And what I'm going to say is this is not the way Jose Lezcano rides. There have been riders in the past that have ridden like this, so it wasn't surprising. He fought this horse every step of the way, and it's almost like they didn't want to be in front. His best races are when they're aggressive with him. And with Print Rack coming out in here, I think about that Mott horse in the second race yesterday that Jose broke a little slow and Jose sent him out of there. These shenanigans aren't going to happen. Now, he's not riding him. Kendrick's on today. They've got to send him today. This is a need-to-lead type horse. Why was he fighting him the whole way? And I'm sure there was a story because you never see Jose ride like this. You know what I mean? And there's some riders I'd say, well, that's the way they ride. But that's not the way Jose rides. It's like, I don't know what it was, but he still actually ran okay.
I mean, that's the most impactful scratch we have in the whole card with Print Rack coming out, taking out
Absolutely.
that speed.
First of all, it takes contender of the race, but I think it also makes this horse that much more dangerous.
Yeah. No.
I think he's a major threat to wire the field because this is a horse who has back races that are very, very good. And he's particularly good when he can control. And I know that the 8 horse has speed in here, Antonio Venice. I don't see him showing the speed. I see this horse as the controlling speed today. He's got to go. Kendrick's got to go, doesn't he?
I think Warstride's fairly quick, too.
We're going to get to him in a minute because I do
Okay.
want to talk about him. I don't think he can run. He can't run with this horse because they're not going to. I don't think they're going to employ those tactics after he ran so well last time. What did you do here? What did you take?
I went to the 4.
Do I have a replay on that horse?
Ship
I do.
Sensational,
Let's
the
look at
former
Sar-
Sam F.
Sarah
Davis
Sandy.
and Tampa Bay Derby horse who hit the board in both those against the winner.
Oh, Classic
Your
Causeway.
favorite.
Well, I was really surprised. I thought he ran very well last time, by the way. Did dirty work and such, and he's been in great form. I read an article, and this was shocked me, by Dave Grenig. Eddie Barker loves him today. Eddie.
Well, there we go. All in.
And I am an Eddie Barker fan, as Eddie knows, but he's never met a horse that he's run that he doesn't love him. Every time I see him, what do you think today? Love him. Love him.
So what has he thought the last 15 times he's run this horse?
Well, I will say one thing that I agreed with what Eddie said.
I love him today,
What
too.
Eddie said, he's in as good a form as he's ever been in. He's not wrong about that. He's been
No,
in great form.
absolutely.
He ran terrific in both of his last 2 races. He's showing more speed. He's putting himself in the game. He has not won a race since the Sleepy Hollow as a 2-year-old.
I'm going to tell
He's
you.
like that. He's like High Oak, only he's been a little more competitive.
Yeah.
Poor
I think he's the horse to beat today. In this
I do
field.
too. I do too.
And he's what, 6-1 morning line?
Is he really going to be 6-1
No.
here?
No.
What race was Print Rack?
Print Rack was 10-1, shockingly.
Wow, look at David's line. He's got the favorite. What's Up Road for you? It is that kind of race. I don't know exactly. I think he's super, super, super dangerous in here. You mentioned Warstride. I want to show his last race, even though neither of us picked him anywhere, because to be fair, he runs. I laughed at him in this field, and he ran huge in here. Without being too hard, Manny Franco off. This is not a big positive rider switch.
No, yeah, you lose Manny.
But this horse, I don't like
This
him.
was
But he ran last time.
So
He runs this race, he's a contender.
with the I mean,
Where-
Thurgraf had really the fastest race that pretty much anyone's run on the field. It was against 25 claiming.
Got a good setup, he got a good trip, but he improved
Yeah, he did.
dramatically over any race he's really ever
And
run.
he could put himself in the game. I know he's sat off the pace a little bit more that day, but he's a horse who certainly has tactical speed and I think can be a little more forward.
What about the Maker Claim and Master of Arms, who's been in great
He's
form for Oscar,
dangerous.
who's been having a good winter.
Another one who's very dangerous.
Very
He's
dangerous.
in, I think, the sharpest form of his career as well. I thought a major player. I have him third in here, and I like that outside post. That's where Manny winds up.
Can I get a price on Contrary Thinking? I don't know. And I'm not betting him if he goes off 7-2.
Well, another upside horse, right?
Well, I thought his maiden race was a lot better than it looks. I know a lot of people that liked him last time. He ran into much better horses coming off.
Jefferson Street,
Sarah-
that was a monster,
Right.
monster effort.
He never ran back to it,
no.
but it was a monster effort.
But it made me think he's going to be a serious sprinter.
And that was Saratoga, Belmont weekend when horses weren't really making up ground. He's been gelded coming back, and I feel like he ran close enough to being competitive last time out. If he improves, and listen, maybe the Chad Brown barn is starting to heat up after they've had really just a lousy winter here.
I know. I don't have him anywhere. I'm very scared of this horse.
Yeah, I didn't want to pick him because it feels like it's a little bit of a bet picking in my heart, but I thought he'd be a decent enough price. This is an excellent. And listen,
I
we didn't
love
even
this
talk
race.
about Ignite the Light, who you've got. We both have fourth. You could tell me he can't win. I thought he actually ran really well last time.
I can't believe I actually have him fourth in here because I do like him quite a bit. I think
Well,
he's
this
going
is
to
a
run
very tough race.
It's a tough race.
David's line shows
he's
it.
coming in. I think outside of probably Shipsational, and obviously, I mean, Worst Right, it's a one-off, that huge effort.
Right.
But I think he's coming in the best form, really, of anyone outside of Shipsational.
We're on the show with John today. Can we use this source to explain to him one-number horses? We
Yes,
have
let's
a running argument with Jonathan about what a one-number horse is. And he's not exactly a one-number horse, but he's not a terrible example. He did run an 80 much back. It's an excellent race. I actually thought the last race, I know they're lower-level claimers, but I actually thought it was kind of a fun race. And, you know, we both in the last race, actually, I'm sorry, you put up the 9th race picks. I have my First Love second in here. You're making us wait here, Eddie?
Yeah, the drama.
Eddie, you sleeping?
Drum roll.
I'm waiting for you to put up the 9th race picks. No, I didn't want to interrupt because you're probably having lunch or something. Yeah.
Collect that.
You know, I was buying Eddie lunch, and he started ordering all sorts. When I said I was going to beg, all of a sudden he was bringing in a bottle of champagne. He was
Yeah,
really,
good for him.
it was really. We both have the 7. I'm kidding. We both have the 7 second. We'll show my First Love's race 2 back. I hate the claim and drop down, but there is also a chance she's just better than these horses.
Yeah, there is. And the horse has been pretty consistently, at least you know what you're going to get, right? Running her type of race. Tactically, she's going to be close and can make her own trip in this spot, too. I just, I'll get to it in a minute.
What?
Well, with Spiritual Lady, who I picked in here, so Time Form has her 5th early in this race. You think she's going to be sitting 5th in this race?
Well, to be fair, Time Form has her last.
They do?
I believe they
No,
have
they have her 5th, I think.
Jackson Avenue last.
No, Spiritual Lady.
Oh, Spiritual Lady. Right, but they have her 5th, but they have it at a very fast pace with the 1, 3, and 4 going with the 2, 6, and 7 right behind, which always says to me, this pace is going to be determined by who's the most aggressive in here. And she's certainly one of the ones that could be forward. What do you like about her? I did not like her today.
I like her speed. I think she could be forward. I like the fact she's, for the first time in her career, she's taking the blinkers off. And the thing that I love most, the thing I love most about that move,
Doesn't need to lead to win, by the way.
she doesn't need the win. I agree with you. Is when you make that change, you still can be aggressive and be forward, but usually they're going to relax more in the stretch and just go easier, find a better rhythm, and have more finish late. That's what I love about it so much. Usually I do love it on a stretch out going a little bit longer because they can get the lead to themselves and then find that and finish. But sprinting it works as well, too. I just think she's going to be very tough in the spot if she can be forward, and I think they are going to be aggressive with her.
Well,
I don't know if she's going to be – I don't think she's going to be sitting that far back.
I think the thing to like about her is she's coming out of a race that completely collapsed on a day that had an outside flow, and she was the inside speed setting a ridiculously fast pace.
Yeah.
So her last race is actually better than it looks, and it's interesting because I have Maggie T third, and the reality is if I have Maggie T third, I'm probably supposed to have her higher because Maggie T had no real chance. She sort of had trouble coming out of the gate. They took a hold of her, took her back, and Romero dropped her over the rail. Well, the rail was not the place you wanted to be that day, and that's why I like Maggie T. But this horse was down inside as well, and Maggie T does some back races. Now, the problem with Maggie T is I'm worried that she's completely lost her form since Rudy claimed her. But she has a massive excuse last time, so I thought she was worth throwing in there somewhere. But we're going to show the replay of Collect That. It takes heart in Jackson Avenue, and I thought, I know that, I missed the wedding, and this is another one of those crazy Robert Johnson horses that won 2 back, but I actually think this horse was running against a world of better horses last time, was forward in a race that basically fell apart in the late stages, and I thought her last race was better than this race that she won, and now she drops back down, and I'm just not sure she can't win right back.
No, yeah, the last time she was in at this level, she crazy number, and she wins, and then 32 back down to where she just won at. Yeah, I agree. She's a player. I mean, I have her fourth in here.
I'm going to move your horse up, and I'm going to use 2, 6, 7, 9.
That's another good race. These
excellent
last
race.
couple of races I love. They're so interesting. And, yeah, I would not settle for my first love, who absolutely could win. But
no, I don't really like It Takes Heart. I think the pace is completely different here, and while I respect Ilke Off the Claim, I don't know why he's supposed to improve from Linda, and Linda claimed for 15, dropped in for 10, and just caught a field she couldn't help but beat. And this is a completely different scenario. And she's the morning line second choice. I don't like her in here. If she wins, I lose. The more I look at it, I'm going to dump her and put your 2 in there.
Okay, I like it.
We're done. We got to go. Oh, we're out of time. Naira Bets. Head over to Naira. We had so much fun, we ran out of time. Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member, match 200. Play through Naira Bets. We have a 20% exacta bonus at Tampa today. Opt in for that. We have a cross-country pick 5, 3 at Oaklawn, 2 at Aqueduct, and we are on from 3 to 5:50. Greg, myself, Maggie, and no, not Maggie. Paul's here.
Jonathan.
Paul, and Jonathan will be with us as well, and we're going to discuss 1 number horses with him.
Can't wait.
We're done. Chris Griffin's just getting started. He's up.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.